Coming up on this week's episode of Home Second Podcast, football is not coming home. Yep, that's right. What a shame. Oh well, and more. All on this week's episode of... My name's Kai.
And my name is Fraser.
And a lot's happened not much has happened this week, but quite a bit has happened this week, right, Fraser?
That's the most contradictory statement ever. A lot's happened. No, it hasn't.
Well,
but it has. But it hasn't.
It feels like a lot's happened, but realistically, not much has happened this week, right?
Exactly, yeah. It's definitely been a roller coaster of a week. Some days, better than others. Other days, deader.
Yeah, that was a very contradictory...
I wanted to live up to what you started with.
So, I guess we'll just jump straight into it. Football didn't come home.
No, it was a very sad evening for everyone in England, other than those who don't really care about football.
So, like me.
Yeah, I don't really care either. The good news for everybody on Twitter is that I'm not going to be tweeting about football for quite a long time again now.
Thank God.
Unless England does, well in the World Cup, then, I'll pay attention again. But otherwise, I didn't pay attention to the Euros until the quarterfinals. So, it's either... At that point, they're in the big leagues. It's like, oh, you're 3 away from the final. Oh, no, hold on, sorry. You're 2 away from the final. And then, oh, no, you're 1 away from the final. Oh, my God, it's the final. It's like you've already taken the big steps. You've already done, the knockout stages.
Yeah, I suppose.
So, for me, it was just jumping in when the excitement was already high. And I think that was the same with everybody else who didn't really care about football. I know you also don't care about football. And
I put it
didn't
on
jump
last
in.
Night.
Yeah, well, you have to. It's the final. It's like the first final in 50 odd years.
I was also working at the same time, so I was doing some editing. And so I just had it kind of muted on the other screen. And then, obviously, the times when I click off of the screen are the times when... both England and Italy scored.
Yeah.
I went onto Twitter for I don't know, maybe a minute or so, and suddenly all I saw was your tweet, everyone else's tweets coming through saying, "Oh!" And then about I don't know, an hour later saying, "Uh-oh," from so many people. And
yeah.
It was obvious the times when I clicked off were the times when they scored. But otherwise I was just kind of getting on with things. I was doing some editing, went in the garden with Coda for a bit, just little bits and bobs.
Nice.
Yeah. But otherwise, no, the end score was 1-1, and then it was 3-2 penalties you wrote. I'm going to just go with what you said.
Which means Italy scored 3 penalties versus England scoring 2. One of them was a complete miss from England, whereas the other 2 were saved. But I think the most important thing to take away from it, and all of the alcohol-fueled, angry, bold, fat British men who bang drums and go, "Go on, England! Score some fucking goals!" All of those people, they won't be able to see through this. But the main thing that people need to take away is that this is the first time England have hit a final in over 50 years. Even my parents have never, ever seen England in a final, not including the women's team, because I believe the women's team hit the final in 2009. But yeah, at that point, it's you're already watching history. And England also made history with the fastest European Championship final goal ever. 2 minutes. That was the fastest goal ever recorded. So while they didn't win, the team have set 2 new records, or at least revisited one in 50 years and set a brand new record for the entirety of the championship, which is really, really impressive. So overall, Kai, though, there was one prediction that you got right.
There was, yeah. I got the... I can't remember who they are up against, to be honest. Was it Denmark?
Yeah, it was England versus Denmark, and you got the score correct.
Yeah. You know what? I looked at if I put a bet on that, yeah?
Yeah.
You know how much I would have got?
Well, how much would you have bet, first of all?
If I put 10 quid on, how much would you think I would have got?
Let's go with 110.
About 100, so yeah, you're about right.
Oh gosh, yeah, that's a pretty good return. You should have done it.
Can you imagine? I should have. I don't know why I didn't.
That would have been really, really good. I mean, you've got good luck when it comes to gambling, so you may as well.
Yeah, I should have, but I didn't. So, oh well.
So you got that right. I got it obviously completely wrong. And then on the finals, I partially got a prediction right, but I'm still technically wrong.
You said 1-1, didn't you?
I said it's going to be a 1-1 tie, and then Italy's going to win it. Sorry, a 1-1 tie, and then England's going to win it. But no, it ended up being 1-1 tie, and then Italy's going to win it. So I got partial, but I still technically wasn't correct. So I got all of my predictions wrong. Yeah, it was halfway there. Living on a prayer, which didn't come through.
You know what? The funniest thing I found with the penalties, right, is I kind of tuned in a bit late to them. And I was watching, and the most fascinating thing that I saw, right, was it. You know when whenever they scored or whenever they missed, it looked like a piece of lettuce or like a tomato, like a squashed tomato or something like that. Whenever like a squashed tomato being like they'd missed, and then like a piece of lettuce, like when they like scored.
Oh, you're on about the scoreboard bit, the ticks and the crosses.
Yeah. That's what it looked like.
I was like, what
it
have
made
you
me
about?
hungry. I don't like eating tomatoes or lettuce, but it made me hungry.
There was one penalty, which I don't really care about the details half the time, but there's one penalty which was absolutely cracking. I believe it was the second one, and it went directly into the back corner of the net, so much so that it was directly where the camera was.
And it cut the camera out.
It completely cut the camera. The feed just died. And I was like, wow, that was amazing.
That was pretty sick.
But yeah, hey, maybe next year, maybe in the World Cup. But for now, unlucky to England, but also very well played.
Yeah, and well done to Italy as well. And be nice to all the Italians and stuff out there and everyone that supported Italy, because don't be an arse, alright?
Yeah, and the same with England team as well, because I've seen straight away there was loads of like racism and loads of abuse being hurled towards the players, which is horrible, absolutely fucking horrible stuff.
Stupid.
So if for whatever reason it crosses your mind, think again, because it's just a game. You're kicking a ball into a net, and that's about it. There is no need, even outside of football, no need for racism at all, no need for abuse at all. Make the world a better place.
Exactly. Have fun.
Exactly.
Don't be an arse.
Talking of having fun, you're going to be having a fun week this week, aren't you?
Well, kind of. It's a big, busy week for me this week, Fraser.
Go on, spew it out.
So this week, Jack's got next week off, so we are preparing all the videos for this week and next week. And currently we've done, I think, 3 out of maybe 6. So not too bad. But that's like my share of stuff over the next 2 weeks. So we've done 3 out of 6 roughly, or like as of this episode coming out, probably 4 out of 6 maybe. That's gonna be most of my week. But then Tuesday and Friday this week, we're starting to record our album. It's
official.
And it's gonna be interesting because it should go well. I think our plan is to do 2 songs this week, and then I think we're doing 2 songs another week later in this month, and then we're doing the next 4 some point August, September, I think, or next 5 even. So should be good, I'd say.
Nice.
But if you want to hear those songs, like before pretty much everyone else, we are going to play all 4 of the ones we're recording at our gig later this month on the 26th of July at the Hampton Inn, Herne Bay, Kent. So come along, and if you can't, I think we are going to live stream it onto YouTube as well. So
that'll be cool
to see it regardless. And I got some custom guitar picks.
What time does it start?
It starts at first band Teddy Bear. They're on at 8 p.m. So should all be good.
Nice.
But yeah, we got I bought some custom guitar picks, so that's pretty cool. I'm going to throw them at people. And,
that sounds violent.
Well, you know, you got to have some fun. So we're going to throw them at people.
Nice.
We're going to... we're just going to have a good time. I think that's the goal. We're going to have a really good time. I think one of the songs that we were learning to play as a cover, we're not doing anymore, which is a bit annoying because it's a very difficult solo, and I feel like I've learnt it for no reason now. But whatever.
Damn.
We'll replace it with someone else, I'm sure. But it should be good. It should be a really good night. We'll be on, I think, about somewhere between 9 and half 9. I want to say about half 9 we should be on. So
nice.
That should be good. And I think I'm joining the other band for one song as well, so that should be very fun.
Nice. Sounds super duper exciting. So make your way down, everybody. You might be able to come and see some more of us, including myself, Thomas, Aiden, and more.
Hell yeah.
But like, we're not the whole point. We're like, go and see Kai. Support Kai.
Still come down for them as well, of course.
If you want to buy us a pint, yeah, we'll appreciate it. But otherwise, go see Kai.
Hell yeah. So that's going to be exciting. But that's the next couple of weeks for me, really. I think we got 2 practices next week, or maybe 3. And then we are pretty much ready to go.
Exciting.
Hell yeah. And the recording this week should go really well as well, I'm hoping. I'll explain why a little bit later on, why it might be a little bit more difficult, but it should be alright. Anyway though, Fraser, I heard you've got your new monitor, you've set it up. How is it?
Good.
Is that
it? I've got my new monitor. It's really good. I'm really happy with the upgrade. Yeah, it's good. I was gonna say good again, but then at the same time I was like, no, I can't just say good again. That sounds like I'm a bit stupid.
It sounds like you're the guy that says objects I've shoved up my arse. Good.
What the fuck?
You not seen that video?
No.
Oh, you're missing out.
Have you shoved? No, I'm not asking.
I haven't,
so yeah, the monitor's really responsive. I'm really No! I'm really pleased with it. That means I've now got a 3-monitor layout. So I've got the recording going on the middle monitor. I've got these notes and Kai's Discord call on the right monitor. And then on the left one,
my Discord.
No benefit to the podcast, but it's got Twitter open on my left screen. Nice. Yeah, our Discord call open.
Oh, I thought you meant just my Discord in general. And I was like, I don't even use my Discord anymore.
Nah, I just got a call open. So yeah, I've got that all set up. Really happy with it, which means I also had to get rid of my old monitor arms because I used to have a monitor arm for 2 screens, and obviously now having 3, I needed one which was longer to be able to support all 3 screens. So I sold it, and it was to Aiden. Sold it to Aiden on the weekend because.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's why Aiden's now got a dual monitor mount at his house, and he's really happy with it from what I've heard.
Good.
And it was really good to be able to get rid of it that quickly because I was thinking I was going to list it on Facebook Marketplace. I was going to be like, yeah, anyone can get it. Go ham, 20 quid, let's go. And then I thought
to get people on Facebook Marketplace, isn't it?
Exactly. I was like, I don't really want to do that. It'll take forever. But then Aiden was like, oh yeah, I'll have it. So I was like, oh brilliant, there you go, 15 quid. There you go, nice mates rates discount. So he's got the dual monitor mount. I've got my triple monitor mount. And I gave it to him on the weekend because on the weekend, me and Aiden met up in Bristol, and we went to go and see Russell Howard live at the Ashley Gate Stadium. Oh my god, I'm so glad I went because I remember last week I said that I couldn't go due to the fact that the semi-finals were on.
Yep.
So I was like, oh god,
And you were going to go with your dad, weren't you?
Exactly. It was my dad's birthday present, and then he's like, no, I'm just going to get tickets refunded. And I was like, okay, yeah, fair enough. But at the same time, I was like, I still kind of want to go. So I just had a look to see if the tickets were still available, because normally they're not available that late after being sold originally, because the tickets were sold 2 years ago for 2020 performances in the Bristol Hippodrome. But no, obviously it had to be postponed due to COVID, and they said that they were originally potentially planning to also postpone again to 2022, but then Russell Howard was like, nah, we're not doing that. We're going to do this where possible. So yeah, they booked out one of the stands at the Ashton Gate Football Stadium, which is home of Bristol City, and we went there, and oh my god, at first we arrived and we were like, these seats are shite. Let's put it this way. There's 7 blocks of seats, not including like how far back you go in the second layer of seats. There's 7 blocks. So let's just say block 4 is the dead center of the stadium. Block 1 is the far left. Block 7 is the far right. We were basically in block 1 looking forward at this little stage, and we were like, oh God, this is the worst possible view you could ever get. And then we were thinking, right, before the show starts, should we move to a better place? And we were definitely considering doing that if we had to. But then the steward came over to the bunch of us that were sat in block 1. They said, right, we're going to move you across because clearly these are not good seats. And then we were like, yeah, we're not complaining, that's fine by us. So we then got moved to block 3,
Nice.
which is pretty much right next to the stage. And he was amazing. There was a support act who I honestly can't remember his name. Said, oh yeah, this guy was funny, I'm going to remember him 10 minutes later. What was his name? I don't know what his name was. Exactly. And yeah, he was good. He was a good warm-up to get everybody all riled up and ready to go for Russell Howard. And then then Russell Howard came out, the presenter for his part, swallowed his chewing gum as he was presenting. He's like,
I saw that in your vlog.
Yeah, honestly, that was
He
hilarious.
just started joking, didn't he?
Yeah. And Russell Howard was amazing. For those of you who don't know who Russell Howard is as a comedian, he doesn't just do like the odd one-liners and puns and stuff. He talks about real issues in the world. He talks about things that have happened to him personally. He talks about not just like real issues that have happened to him personally, like just his stories and stuff, his family stories, that sort of stuff. And it is absolutely incredible. And then near the very end, or as like the whole show goes along, he ends up tying up the jokes so like they all kind of relate to each other near the very end, and it just makes it so fucking hilarious. And I think the entire gig or his section went on for almost 1.5 hours, but it genuinely only felt like half an hour because I was so into it. Like, the saying the time flies when you're having fun really applied to that show. It was absolutely incredible.
For sure.
So if anyone ever gets the chance to go and watch Russell Howard in person, totally go and do it. It's so worth your time and so worth your money. And if you want to see more of what we got up to that day, I did release a vlog on my YouTube channel. So yeah, go and check that out. It's the latest video is out right now. You can go and see me and Aidan whiz around Bristol on e-scooters. I was going to hesitate at whiz around. Because I said that in the vlog and I was like, oh no, that sounds awful. You can see us whiz around on e-scooters around Bristol. We also go and get some food like twice during the vlog. We just explore Bristol generally. I didn't have this down on the notes, but I want to talk about it. These e-scooters in Bristol, fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I've literally used them over 2 days now. So that day and also one day before. Not directly before, but you get the idea. And they're so incredible. Such a good addition to Bristol. They're so cheap as well. You can get a day pass, so you can do unlimited 45-minute rides with 10-minute gaps in between for $4.99 for 24 hours.
That's pretty good.
Which is really good. Otherwise, pay-as-you-go rate is 99p unlock fee plus 14p per minute you use it.
Oh.
Which is good if you're going on one small one-off journey. But the second you travel for about, I think it's 20 minutes, because I tried working it all out in my head. Mm-hmm. Or maybe it's 30 minutes. The second you travel for 30 minutes or more, that's when you're better off getting a day pass. Because... I think £1 unlock fee, and then it's £4.20 over 30 minutes. So you end up paying £5.20 for a 30-minute trip. So if you're doing longer, it's better to get the day pass.
Do you have that same scooter throughout the day as well? Because I saw obviously you rode them to the stadium, didn't you?
Yes, we did. We rode them right now.
Then did you like leave them out there and like they were still yours, or?
No. So what you can do is it's a very big network of scooters. So you can go to a parking space, or you can have a look on your app just to see where the scooters are. And you can go and pick up scooters from there. So it's a very big network. We didn't get the exact same scooters that we originally rode over. But what you can do, if like, let's just say popping into a shop, you can reserve a scooter for 10 minutes.
Right, okay.
Which will obviously pause your timer. It will waive the unlock fee. So when you unlock it, you won't need to pay £1 to get back on it because you reserved it. It's just continuing from your previous journey. Otherwise, if you don't reserve the scooter and you just end your ride, then you basically say, no, you're not having that scooter anymore. You just parked it off in your parking space. You go do your own thing. You come back. And obviously there is a chance that the scooter could still be there, but also anybody else can go take it. So, chances are you just hop on another scooter.
So did you I was gonna say, like, did you have to like leave it in a specific place, or could you just leave it pretty much wherever?
Yes, you have to leave it in a specific place. So on the app, there's marked zones. There's quite a few different types of zones. The black zone is basically you're not allowed to ride in this area at all. It's called a no voy zone because the service is called voy. So it's called a no voy zone, and that's basically any public spaces like parks that don't have cycle paths going through them. Any private property, like the actual football stadium itself, you're not allowed to ride through it. Other big areas, you're not allowed to like ride on roads more than 30 miles an hour as well, because obviously you'll be holding up traffic more.
Yeah.
So that's one of the zones. The second zone is a yellow zone, which is a slow zone. It basically limits the speed on your scooter to go to a very slower speed, which basically is good for when you're riding through a pedestrianised zone, because there are like pedestrianised zones, especially in Bath, where you are allowed like bikes and scooters and stuff on it, but you need to go slow. So like their compromise for allowing you to use it is introducing slow zones. So if you ride through that, you can expect your scooter to slow down. And then there's two different parking zones. There's blue parking, which is like, this is a good place to drop off your scooter, and it's basically like bike racks, anywhere where it's like there's a big area where people normally store bikes and stuff. Sometimes it's like marked out on pavements, but normally the blue zones are just like out the way. And then it's very rare to come across one of these, but there's also green zones. And it's basically, yes, this is such a good place to park your scooter that if you do park it here, we'll give you a slight discount. And that's only really applicable on the pay-as-you-go rides, because if you've got a day pass, it really doesn't matter. You've already paid your $4.99 up front.
Yeah.
But if you do get your one-off ride, then if you park in a green zone, then you get a slight discount on your ride. Another thing as well is if you wear a helmet and you take a picture of yourself wearing a helmet at the start and end of your ride, you also get a discount for being safe and responsible.
Yeah, I'm sure that doesn't happen that often.
No, I haven't seen many people with helmets, but I have seen a couple.
Yeah. Wow, fair enough.
It's such a good service. I love it to bits, and I'm going to rant on a little bit more about it now. I submitted a few suggestions to them. Because this isn't just like a Bristol-based service. It's in so many different countries and in quite a few cities across the UK now, including London and Bath. And I believe...
Is there one here?
I don't know. Tell you what, I'll check on the app for you.
Yeah, there is. I don't know if it comes under the same name. It comes under Bird.
Okay. Oh, no, Bird, I know of Bird. Bird is very popular in Germany.
Yeah, they're in... closest one to me is in Canterbury, so...
Okay, that's good. Cool. Yeah, I've not used Bird scooters before, but I have seen them around. Just like Lime as well. Lime is another brand. I saw them in Germany quite a lot.
I think I saw those in Paris.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that one makes sense.
Yeah.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, that's it. I submitted feedback to them because they're quite a big company, but I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to submit some feedback because there's quite a few things which would be beneficial to me. Obviously, I live closer to Bath than I do Bristol. So like there's an issue with the app where it will show you the detailed information for your closest city. So like, oh, this is how many voids are around. This is where all the yellow zones are. This is the best parking spaces. And the parking spaces are like essential for planning. So like if you want to go from place A to B, then you're going to want to know where you can park off your scooter so you can plan in advance your journeys. But like for Bristol, I can't do that because I'm not close enough to Bristol. I'm only close enough to Bath. So I said, yeah, I'd like that. I said also, I was given £5 free trial credit for like just using their training program.
Yep.
And I used up all of that, plus I also spent a little bit more because I thought, I'm going to use it. But then I realised it'd actually be way more cost effective if I just bought a day pass, because I ended up spending the equivalent of £7.70 that day on Voy, where I was like, I regret not buying a day pass. So I said, it'd be good if you get to like £5 and automatically it caps you or puts you onto a day pass, because that'd be beneficial. And then
like what you have with like using your card on the Underground.
Exactly. So then you're always getting the best rates.
Yeah.
So I said, yeah, I like that as well. That'd be great. And then I submitted a third one, which I can't honestly remember off the top of my head now. And then they said, all right, great ideas. There's another £5. And I was like, oh, great, okay. So I basically got my trial credit back. So I only spent £2 whatever on the day with Aidan. But it just goes to show they're really good at listening and really good at providing good service for their customers. Because to get another $5, they didn't need to do that. They didn't need to do that at all.
That's pretty good. Sounds good.
Anyway, that's my rant about the e-scooters over and done with. It wasn't even a rant. It was like, I love them to bits. I'll big them up. And I cannot wait. I cannot wait until personal e-scooters are legalised in the UK. Because it's not a thing. You're not allowed to ride personal e-scooters in the UK.
No, it's just branded ones, isn't it?
Exactly. So, hopefully they'll do that soon. Before we go into the next section, we're going to say a big shout out to the people that got the secret words for the last 2 weeks, because we didn't do the one from 2 weeks ago. We didn't shout them out anyway. So shout out to Peter and Diamond Hood, who got the secret word from 2 weeks ago, and shout out to Peter and Kai, who got the secret words. We're making them even smaller, these sections, to make them even more secret. So the new secret word for this week is scooter. So tweet us, scooter, to @StuckInAPodcast.
And finally this week, Fraser, COVID restrictions are going to disappear possibly for good.
Wow. Honestly, I don't know how I feel.
Yeah, it's a bit hit and miss, isn't it? I feel like, right, what they're doing is, you know how they've got, like, most people have had their first vaccine now, yeah?
Yep.
I think the official rate as of Sunday is about 90% of the UK's adult population, so 18.
Is it 90 now? Bloody hell.
Almost, yeah. I think it's like 87 point something. So it's about 90.
Oh, that's gone up quite a bit. Last time I checked, it was like 85, so that's good.
Yeah, so it's nearing 90%. And I guess once the restrictions are lifted, it will be 90%, yeah?
Yeah.
And I think what they're doing is they're getting everyone their vaccines, first and second, as quick as possible, because they've basically said they're probably going to up it to 4 weeks plus now instead of 8 weeks plus.
Yeah.
Second, which I can confirm. I have indeed had my second vaccine today, being Monday. They're doing walk-ins near where I am, so I just went to see if I could get it, because I saw loads of people were getting theirs after 3 weeks and 4 weeks again, even though mine got said I couldn't have it last week, suddenly out of nowhere. So I went and they did it, all fine. A little bit of an achy arm now, but cracking on, as always. That's what the problem was with recording this week, is because I might have an achy arm tomorrow, but I got it in my left arm, which is my playing arm, so it should be pretty easy. Nice. But I think what they're doing is everyone's getting their vaccines, and now they're just trying herd immunity.
That's what it seems like anyway. And yeah, I don't know how to feel about it. I can totally understand, like, the whole deaths are not massively increasing, but they are still increasing.
6 yesterday.
Yeah, there was 6 yesterday.
Six today even, sorry.
So it's remained relatively consistently low, but it is increasing still. Because, like, over the last 7 days, 200 people have died, and that is up 72 from the previous week. So it is clear that it's increasing. And also, like, the NHS is starting to see a little bit of strain again, because over the last 7 days, there's been over 3,000 people admitted to hospital, up 1,100 from the previous week. So, like, it's so difficult to say what the right thing is. But I know some people are going to be really happy that the restrictions are easing. I mean, yeah, I guess it's good. It's good that things are going to be opening again, but, like, they say put it into the hands of the great common sense of the British public, and we've seen the last 3 lockdowns. So,
I mean, look at them on Sunday morning and afternoon and evening and whatever else.
Exactly.
So
yeah,
it's worrying, but I guess we'll wait and see. One of my friends has just flown back from Korea, right? They've been working out there since November, I think. And when they went out, they got coronavirus, and they had it for about a month and a half.
Oh, wow.
Or something like that. I think it was 6 weeks they had it for, until they finally got a negative test, and then another negative test, and they haven't had it since. Their friend 2 weeks ago got COVID. Their friend that they lived with, yeah?
Oh, gosh.
Got COVID, so their flight got pushed back by 2 weeks, and they got back here on Friday, finally, because they provided a negative test again. They tested negative multiple times throughout that 2 weeks, even though they were still in that same proximity of that person with COVID. So it's possible that their immunity was up, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel like they're just hoping herd immunity works now, because the numbers going up, they're opening everything up, and I guess they're just seeing what happens, you know?
Yeah, it's really hard to say what the right thing is to do, but it would be nice to have like some relatively normal summer back. But I know for sure I'm still going to be wearing masks. I'm still going to be wearing my mask indoors in places, in crowded areas. I'm still going to be wearing it. I don't want to... I know it's more to protect others, but at the same time, it does slightly protect you so you don't, like, inhale COVID.
You don't want to risk it, do you?
Exactly.
Simple as.
Best be safe than sorry.
Especially if you do get your vaccine, it takes something like 3 weeks to be, like, fully vaccinated or, like, fully protected for that one.
Exactly.
You know?
And so I've just gone past the 4-week mark.
Yeah, exactly. Even though I've got my second one today, I'm not going to be like fully covered until the 2nd of August, you know?
Yeah.
So, who knows? It's rough.
And by the time you're fully protected with that second jab, I'm only just going to be getting my second jab. So,
exactly.
We'll wait and see what happens. But there is relatively breaking news as we're recording. The new health secretary has just said that if data does go the wrong way, then restrictions could come back, which will be interesting to see what happens. And I reckon the data will go the wrong way. It's already gone the wrong way, and the restrictions haven't even dropped yet. But talking of the restrictions that will drop, we'll take this in turns to go through the list. They have said that all legal limits will be removed on indoor and outdoor gathering numbers. So outdoors at the moment is like max 30. Indoors, I think it's max 6 or max 2 different households. So those numbers are going to be going.
Nightclubs are going to be opening again, which is something that hasn't happened since, I guess, the beginning of March 2020.
Yeah, since it all went down. Yeah.
Which is interesting to see, but I guess... You know, if so many people could gather in Wembley Stadium and whatever else, I don't see why they couldn't there as well, I guess.
Exactly. And they have had their trials in nightclubs as well, like trial concerts and stuff. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. But I know that there's pretty much every club in Bristol completely booked out for night 1 of restrictions dropping. Sports events, concerts and all of that, they're all going to be back to full capacity with no restrictions on that. So obviously the Euro 2020 was pretty much that. So it's going to be official from that point onwards. No more restrictions on those events. Yeah,
my gig as well will not have restrictions. So that'll be interesting to see because...
So come on down!
That'll be the first time since like February last year where we've had an audience, you know?
Yeah.
So that's a bit weird. You won't be legally obliged to wear a face mask, which is including like on public transport and stuff, but they are saying like guidance is to still wear one, but it is going to be your choice, but just make the right choice, you know? Maybe take it in like the same stride as what America's done where, you know, either 2 jabs or mask, you know?
Yeah.
That sort of thing, if you want to really do that, because it seems like it's working pretty well for them at the moment.
There's also going to be the guidance that tells employers to advise all their employees to work from home. That guidance will end, so it's no longer work from home if you can. It's just going to be down to the employer. So for me, that's pretty shit. I know my employer is going to be fine with it, and I believe at least before all the cases shot up, back when it was low in May, they said, oh yeah, we're getting aim for September. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. In terms of allowing us to come back, but yeah, we'll see what happens there.
Test and trace and the isolate system will be in place, but I believe if you've had, I think it's this month is still, you do have to isolate, but if you are in with, I think it's from the 19th of August, if you come into contact with COVID, you don't have to isolate.
Which is very, very interesting.
Which is odd, but fair. So if you test positive, you do have to isolate, or if you're told to by the test and trace thing, you will. But again, that is all gonna change again on the 19th of August apparently, which will be interesting to see. But there's also an aim to move to different regime for the fully vaccinated and children.
Regime?
I don't know why I said regime.
Regime.
Regime. I read it as regime, but it came out as regime.
Amazing. And finally, border controls on the red list are still going to be in place. But they're going to be removing the restrictions from amber list countries. So if you come home from an amber list country, then you won't need to isolate.
Yes!
Is Greece on the amber list?
It is. And guess what else is on the amber list?
America.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you're well happy about
But
that
I mean,
one,
it
then.
doesn't really. I don't really care if I do or not, because what am I going to do when I get back? Work from this seat where I am
exactly.
now.
Isolating anyway, basically.
Exactly.
And
but yeah, other than that, face masks gone from the 19th as well.
And some people are like a bit iffy on that. Like there was a poll that was conducted. Apparently 71% of people wish it was still mandatory on public transport, and 66% of people still wish it was mandatory in shops.
You know what, I think in stuff like Tesco and Sainsbury's and whatever else, it should be, you know, because you are, like, someone could have just sneezed on your apple, for example, or sneezed on your food or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
And like, you know, when people like go and pick up all these items and whatever else in Tesco, put them back down, it's just simple stuff like that as well, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like one thing we are going to see is, from now on, I feel, at least for like probably a couple of years, you're probably going to see hand sanitizer at like most like front doors of shops.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
I feel like that's something they're just going to keep in with normal practice, just because it does help.
I was carrying around a bottle with me when we were going out on Saturday, because I was like, oh, well, other people are going to be touching these scooters. I'm going to want to, you know, sanitize my hands after I've used the scooters, just in case. So literally every time I finished with the scooters, I sanitized my hands.
Yeah, smart. I always do as well, no matter like where I am.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the one thing we have to say is keep safe. It seems like it's going to be quote unquote over, but it isn't. Simple as.
Use your common sense. Use the responsible side of your brain and just assess your situation. If you feel like you don't need to wear a mask, fine. But if you feel like it might be better off to wear a mask, it's probably best to go with your gut instinct, though. Yeah. It's always been... We've never really liked talking about coronavirus massively on the podcast, because we don't want this to be help I'm stuck in a pandemic. Because, you know, we're a podcast. We're here to, like, brighten up the mood. We're here to just talk about what's going on in our lives. But I think ultimately we've all, like, we've remained the same with our stance. Just stay safe, do what you think is best, and ultimately don't be a dick.
Yeah, just, I guess, start having some fun, but be careful with it as well, you know?
Exactly.
That's what we're doing, isn't it? We're
exactly
doing little bits, and we're still pretty much keeping to quite a small group of people.
We're having a nice, small, friends-only barbecue outside later on this month. And that's still well below the outdoor number restrictions that would have been lifted. So
yeah, I think we got like, what, 8?
Exactly.
That.
So yeah, just be responsible. As long as you're responsible, and I'd recommend as well, keep lateral flow testing. If you do it at least once a week, then you know that you're good for at least the week, and you're going to be protecting those around you, just in case you do accidentally pick it up.
Yeah.
Anyway, that is all for this week's episode. Just want to give a massive unfortunate shout out to Will Annie, who got a positive COVID test on the day of the England final. So big sad and big rip to him.
But good news from that is he did a charity thing for his ticket, didn't he?
He did.
That was good to see. So well done to him.
He did a giveaway for his tickets, 2 tickets. All you need to do is donate minimum £2 to the Newcastle Food Bank. I think it is NUFC, Newcastle United Football Club food bank. And yeah, quite a lot of people did, so he raised good money for a good cause.
Spot on.
Anyway, that's all for this week's episode. Thanks so much for listening to this week's episode of... Don't forget to follow us right here on Spotify by clicking on that follow button. Make sure you also turn on notifications right here, so then you get notified via Spotify as to when we upload new episodes. We upload a new episode every single Wednesday, so just keep your eyes and ears peeled for the next one, because you never know when there could be an even bigger special with special guests. talking to special guests if you want to get the sneak peeks and lowdown on what's going on with the podcast, especially when it comes around to community episodes. Follow us on our Twitter at Stuck in a Podcast. Make sure you follow us on our personal ones as well at FraserIRL and at Kai Ross-Best, because that is where you will get to know what's going on with the podcast as well as what's going on with our personal lives. Wahoo! I think that's all from me. Anything from you?
Nah, not really.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for listening. And don't forget, it's not coming home, bitch.